Everyone ready? Good. First off, I want to address the comments from Saturday after the game.
What happens when a $250 million franchise quarterback completely snaps, declares open warfare on his own fan base, and then is immediately forced by the front office to execute one of the most embarrassing public apologies in recent NFL history? We are officially witnessing the absolute peak of damage control in Berea, Ohio. Just days after Deshaun Watson stepped to the podium and actively accused the Cleveland fans of cheering for his torn Achilles, he was marched right back out in front of the cameras to desperately walk it all back. The front office may have just named him the starting quarterback, but they clearly demanded that he kiss the ring of the Dawg Pound before taking a single regular season snap. You are locked into NFL Zone Talks, the absolute, undisputed authority on the raw, unvarnished truth behind the biggest cover-ups, positional battles, and locker room dynamics shaping the league. Make sure you absolutely smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and let's dive directly into the incredibly awkward reality of Deshaun Watson's forced apology tour. To truly comprehend the sheer...
Now it's my job to be able to show that I'm capable of putting points on the board and getting W's. And I think that if we can do that, then I can earn the respect and loyalty to the rest of the fan base. And that's what I got to do. Because again, it was a big investment, and we haven't got the product out of that investment just so far. And I have another shot, I have another chance. So I want to make sure I take full of
mind-numbing awkwardness of this press conference. You have to look directly at exactly how Watson attempted to excuse his highly toxic behavior. Right out of the gate, Watson completely abandoned his previous defensive posture and essentially threw himself on the mercy of the media. He desperately tried to blame his attack on the fans on...
All of that conversation kind of goes away. For you, are you prepared, though, for the reaction if there are those highs and lows, those bumps in the roads early?
Am I prepared? I don't think you ever can really be prepared for that. But
human nature, claiming his emotions simply got the absolute best of him. He explicitly stated that his comments were never intended to target the city. But let's apply some basic, fundamental logic to this situation. You are being paid $47 million a year to act as the undeniable, unquestioned emotional anchor of a professional football franchise.
The energy of the fans, I thrive off of the energy of the community. I thrive off all that stuff. I think looking back in my history at Clemson and previous at the Houston organization, I was a big community guy, big city guy, big fan guy, during the game. So, again, my emotions got the best of me.
You cannot allow your emotions to cause you to openly attack the people buying the tickets simply because they booed your terrible preseason performance. That is a terrifying lack of mental toughness. However, in a rare, completely unexpected moment of brutal self-awareness, Watson actually admitted exactly why the fans have every single right to be absolutely furious with him. He explicitly acknowledged the massive, unprecedented investment the Cleveland Browns front office made to acquire him in 2022. He looked directly at the cameras and openly confessed that he has completely failed to deliver on that investment, citing his injuries, his massive time off the field, and his total failure to put a winning product on the gridiron. When the player himself openly admits that he has completely scammed the organization out of $250 million over the last 2 years, you begin to understand exactly why the fan base is entirely out of patience. But instead of simply taking absolute accountability and leaving it at that, Watson executed a highly confusing, deeply revealing psychological...
One of the 32 organizations in this league. And, today was a assignment. I had no idea until I walked into the building and I talked with Coach Monk. And, it was...
pivot. He desperately tried to remind everyone of how beloved he used to be. He explicitly referenced his time at Clemson and his previous tenure with the Houston Texans, claiming he was always a big community guy and a big fan guy. It was an incredibly sad, highly transparent attempt to convince the Cleveland media that he is actually
bored. And that was one of the reasons why I chose this city, is to come and have a lot of wins with this community, with this city, and make sure that we, on the right track so we can have a lot of, celebrations and a lot of excitement to go each and every Sunday. So, again, moving forward, I just want to make sure that, I can give the city something to, think about, in the first 2 games and, when we come back home, that we have something.
A likable person. But by constantly referencing how popular he was in other cities, he only aggressively highlighted exactly how deeply fractured and incredibly toxic his current relationship with the Dawg Pound has truly become. He is completely living in the past because his present reality is terrifying. The absolute, undeniable reason for this massive, highly coordinated apology.
We haven't showcased my full talent and ability to run in this offense. Being able to run and being able to use my athletic ability, getting outside the pocket, being able to do some other QB-driven stuff.
Tour became glaringly obvious when reporters pressed him on the timing. They directly asked Watson if he was genuinely worried that his attack on the fans was going to cost him the starting job. Watson offered a weak, entirely unconvincing denial, claiming that he and head coach Todd Monken had already moved on from the comments. But the underlying
spend time in this facility, in the city, meeting a lot of different people in the community. I thought I was going to get, a little different response, but
reality is entirely undeniable. You do not hold a massive press conference to apologize for your feelings unless the front office explicitly ordered you to clean up the public relations nightmare before they officially handed you the keys to the offense. The organization essentially held the starting job hostage until Watson agreed to grovel. And this massive
didn't go right for you Saturday. Once you get in regular season game action starting week 1, they'll start to go right for you.
Because I have an organization and a team, walking in the building today that has, 110%.
Lack of organic confidence was completely exposed when Watson desperately tried to convince the media that his locker room actually likes him. He aggressively repeated that he has 110% support from the organization, the coaching staff, and his teammates. True franchise leaders, guys like Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, never have to step to a podium and announce that their teammates support them. It is an absolute, undeniable given. The sheer fact that Watson feels the intense need to publicly validate his own locker room.
But do you feel like there are a number of other things that you can do sort of between, you have a whole month, between now and September 27th to sort of change the
room standing proves exactly how incredibly fragile his current position on the depth chart truly is. He is desperately trying to manifest a reality that simply does not exist on the practice field. The absolute most embarrassing, highly cringe-worthy moment of the entire press conference arrived during his closing remarks. A reporter essentially asked Watson what he planned to do over the next month to change the incredibly negative narrative surrounding his character. Watson looked completely lost. He stumbled through his answer, eventually admitting that he probably needs to sit down with the organization's PR department to figure out a way to showcase his personality a little bit more. Let that completely sink into your brain. A grown man, in his 8th NFL season, is openly admitting he needs the front office to manufacture a personality for him so the fans stop booing him. It is a staggering, entirely pathetic admission of a completely broken public image. We are officially standing at a
certain crowd. It was just, this is how I feel. And, once I got it off my chest, I felt better, and now I can move forward from it.
You said earlier that you were a big fan guy at Clemson and Houston.
Absolute, undeniable precipice regarding the immediate future of this incredibly talented football team. The front office forced Deshaun Watson to execute the apology tour, and they officially named him the Week 1 starter. But words completely evaporate the absolute second the real bullets start flying. The Browns are currently hurtling toward a massive, highly volatile Week 3 home.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what that may be, honestly. So that's something that I probably have to get with the organization about. Like I mentioned before, I already do community service. That's always something been huge since I was in high school. So, I do that. I hang out with the teammates. When I do interact with people outside the building in the community.
Opener against the New York Giants. If Watson struggles on the road in Weeks 1 and 2, the boos waiting for him in Cleveland will be absolutely deafening, and no amount of PR spin will save him. I want to hear your absolute raw, unfiltered thoughts down in the comments below. Do you genuinely believe a single word of Deshaun Watson's forced apology? And exactly how short is his leash before Shedeur Sanders completely takes over this franchise? Drop your absolute best, most aggressive takes below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep your notifications on, and I will see you all in the very next deep dive.